Here we are, back at it like a smoked addict. We got some tri-tips. We're gonna see how Monty prepares his tri-tips. Just a little bit about these tri-tips. They're mostly known in California. A lot of people like to cook them down in California. They're a hidden gem in Texas, but hey, we finna put it on the map here in Texas and do it Texas style. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is prepare these, get them ready for the smoke tomorrow morning. All right, guys, we got one of our tri-tips right here. We're gonna go ahead and cut off any undesired hard fat that's not gonna render down. If you look down here, it got a lot. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut it off piece by piece. If you're first starting to trim your meat, just remember, you can always cut less and then cut more later. But if you do it the opposite, cut more first, you can't cut less later. So here we are. We got it trimmed up. That's about good for me. All these scraps you got right here, you don't have to throw them away. It's kind of a waste. You can put them in a little tin foil and get them rendered down. And when we're ready to wrap this tri-tip, you know, brush it up with a little bit of beef tallow. And instead of using olive oil, any other kind of spray, this beef tallow is gonna keep your meat nice and moist. And when I say render it down, you just put it in a little foil tray while you're smoking your tri-tip, and then it's gonna turn into a nice beef tallow. So this is the seasoning we're gonna use. Again, we're gonna stick back with the OG salt, pepper, garlic. Remember, if you can, sprinkle that thing from the sky. It's gonna spread everything out nice and good. Here we go. In there with a good layer. This is a decent sized piece of meat. It's gonna be on the pit for anywhere from 4 to 5 hours, maybe 6. So don't be afraid to hit it with a nice layer of seasoning. And then everything that you drop down here, you can hit it on the sides. Don't forget to season the sides of your meat. Season everywhere. Hit it with a little bit more. And there's this age-old debate, binder or no binder. To me, the binder is unnecessary. It's just extra steps. The reason why I season my meat the night before, throw it in the fridge, is the salt is gonna pull the moisture out of the meat, and then the seasoning is gonna sink back in. With the binder, you're just having everything sit at the top, and it might make a good crust, it might not, but that season is not gonna go where you need it to go, and that's all the way in the meat. So we're gonna go ahead and let these rest in the fridge overnight, and I'll see y'all back in the morning when we throw them back on the pit. Good morning, everybody. Back at it. So same setup as we've been running. We got our unlit coals on this side. We lit up some coals right here with our chimney starter, and it's just gonna move all the way through, you know, a nice low and slow cook. And then you can't really see it, but we do have mesquite chunks. They pair well with beef, so that's what we're rolling with today. We're gonna wait till everything catches, and then we're gonna get our grill up to temp, and then we're gonna go ahead and clean it off, and then we'll get those tri-tips on there. So while we wait till our grill hits up to temp, I have our independent meat thermometer. This one to your right, that is in the grill. We're just gonna make sure we're at the right temp at 225 to 250 to smoke our meat. And also, if you can't tell, I got the top vent and the bottom vent wide open, so all the coals catch and there's maximum airflow throughout. And once we hit our desired temp, we'll go ahead and close the vents and stabilize our temp. And that's a little bit about fire management. All right, guys, we're about at our temp on the right side where we want to start smoking. Still blowing a little bit of that dirty smoke, but we'll go ahead and close these vents to where we want them, which is almost closed, just to maintain this temperature through the whole cook. And then we're gonna give a little bit, let that dirty smoke leave, and then we'll go ahead and throw our tri-tip on there. All right, guys, we got our tri-tip on there. Not only do we got our tri-tip, we got all that excess hard fat right here that's gonna render down throughout our whole cook. We're gonna go ahead and let that render down, make it into a nice beef tallow. And not only that, we're gonna use it for wrapping our tri-tip right here. You see, this is a 22-inch Weber kettle. Three tri-tips fit comfortably right here. So we're gonna go ahead and close the lid, and we'll probably be back in an hour or two, check on the bark, see when we want to wrap. But for this cook, we're gonna probably go to 170 internal on the meat, and then we'll go ahead and wrap, and then we'll go ahead and wait for it to come up to temp till about 203, maybe 200, because when we let it rest, we're gonna let it rest for 30 to 45 minutes. Even though it's resting, it still rises in the internal temp if you have it nicely insulated. But yeah, this is basically the time. We got our vent set, our temp set, our meat on the grill. If you want to go have a couple cold ones in the backyard, you know, or you want to throw the ball with your kid, or you're hanging out with friends, this is what this channel is made for. Just to make it so simple and so easy that you're not stressing, you're having a good time if you have people over, and all that great stuff. But yeah, we'll go ahead, close the lid, let our meat do its thing, and we'll be back to check on it and maybe spritz it with some little beef tallow if it's rendered down enough. But yeah, we'll come back and check it out. All right, here we go, guys. We're about at our 2-hour mark. We're gonna go ahead and break the seal. Oh, look at that tri-tip, man. Look at that tri-tip. So about at the 2-hour mark, we're not gonna wrap them just yet. We got the bark set. We got our beef tallow, you know, cooking. What I'm gonna go ahead and do right now is get the beef tallow in a little spray bottle. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some more coals and a little bit more wood chips, and I'm gonna leave the lid open while those are burning, just so we can eliminate a little bit more dirty smoke. And then we'll come back and spray these tri-tips with the beef tallow. All right, guys, we got our beef tallow in here. It's not much, but it's honest work, and we're gonna go ahead and spray down these tri-tips. Keep that meat nice and warm. There we go. That nice little beef tallow. Get it nice and moist. Get that nice little layer on them. And then what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna get one of our meat probes, and we're gonna stick this right here. Oh, we're barely in this, but that meat is already looking to get really tender. And so we put our second probe in, and it's gonna go up a little bit, but the one on the left is gonna be the meat probe, and then the one on the right is gonna be just measuring our grill grate. And once it hits about 170, give or take an hour, we'll go ahead and wrap them till they hit about 200. So just a quick tip, right now we were just struggling to get our fire back to that 225, 250 range. So all we did was open our vents, open up this bottom vent so we can get as much airflow as we need. And then yeah, let your grill do the work, adjust it, and then here slowly but surely we will get up to temp. After about 3 hours later, our pit's sitting at 250. We got an internal temp of our tri-tip at 176, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap. So let's just take a quick look, a little peek. So there we go, that's our bark right there. We're gonna go ahead and wrap these. Looking nice and crispy. I might keep them on a little bit longer just to get more of a bark. You see, it's already set. But we'll look. Right now, if you look, little sneak peek into the offset. That's what our bark looks on the offset. Look at that amazing bark right there. That's a lot darker than these over here. Little sneak peek. I don't plan on using this offset for maybe a couple more videos, and then we'll come back at you. But we'll go ahead and wrap all these up, and then we'll throw them back on there till they hit an internal temp of probably 200, 203. So here we are on this sunny day. We got one of our tri-tips right here. We're gonna go ahead and give it a little spray down of this beef tallow right here. Make sure it's nice and moist for the whole cook. We're gonna spray down this paper right here where it's gonna roll over. Look at that. We're gonna bend these corners in. And we're gonna roll it up. Making sure we keep it nice and tight. There we go, guys, about 5 hours in. Remember, the left one is the meat, the right one is the grate temperature, and we're sitting at that 203 where we want to. So we're gonna go ahead and pull these out, and we're gonna rest them for about 45 minutes to an hour. Let those juices soak back in. So we'll see you in 45 minutes. Guys, we got a trisket, aka tri-tip. Gonna go ahead and cut into it a little bit. Look at that smoke ring, guys. You can pull it apart. If you watch the rest of this video, if you watch this whole video, thank you. And the reason why the tri-tip is so great is because it costs less money than a brisket. You can cook exactly like a brisket, and it takes way less time. Look at that smoke ring.